Welcome home to USA Global TV and Radio, a place where dreams take flight, with authentic storytelling, diverse perspectives and meaningful conversations, where global stories unite and bridges are built beyond all borders. Discover world-class education, entertainment, hope and inspiration. Together, we're building bridges worldwide. Subscribe to our channel, USA Global TV. Download our app, USA Global TV. Be our guest or join our team. Visit usaglobaltv.com. Thanks to our founder and executive producer, Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck. Music score by Yeffy Tang from Cloud Road Music. Voiceover artist Mike Porter. Creative direction by Paul Garcia. USA Global TV and Radio. Your home for global connection. All rights reserved. This video and its contents are the exclusive property of USA Global TV and Radio. Unauthorized use, duplication or redistribution in any form is strictly prohibited.
Hello and welcome to the Persistence Payoff Show. I'm your host, Kimberly Schafer. We're here on USA Global TV and Radio. And this show is focused on talking to people about their journey with persistence and how persistence has gotten them through the challenges that they faced and has helped them bring their dreams into reality. So I learn something every week. I'm on my own journey with persistence. I'm a first-time inventor and entrepreneur. I'm the inventor of the Ring Thing, which is a waterproof patented ring holder that I invented. And one of the things I'm learning every day is the importance of just putting one foot in front of the other and keeping going no matter what the challenges are. I'm really looking forward to talking to our guest today, Roland FRIEDL. He's a very accomplished business leader, a coach, an author. He hosts multiple shows here on USA Global TV and Radio. And he also has his own experience with persistence and learning how to overcome loss. So please help me welcome Roland FRIEDL to the show today.
Hello, Kimberly.
Hi, Roland. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm just here in my motorhome. It looks a little weird here, but it is like it is. But I'm thank you for having me.
Yes, no, I'm grateful. And it actually adds to my interest in hearing your story because I know that. So can you tell us and tell our audience about your situation right now? You've been living in your van or your motorhome for a few years and traveling through Europe and doing your work remotely, which I think sounds fabulous. And can you talk with us a little about what that experience has been like?
Well, actually, I planned to do it for 1 year. So make a long story short, I had an international business. I was traveling the world for big companies, for tech companies. I was the head trainer in all over the places. So I was in North America, South America, in Europe, of course. I'm Austrian, Middle East, Africa, Asia. So I was on the whole globe working for them and for 30 years. And then in 2020, everything changed. You know, we haven't been allowed to travel, and the companies didn't allow their leaders and their salespeople to travel. So my business, to be honest, broke down on 90% minus. So I had a huge business that broke down 90% minus. And I thought, well, it will come back. It will come back, but it didn't. So I still kept my lifestyle. So I had a huge house, a huge finca, a very huge finca. On the island of Mallorca, you know, a lot of cars and stuff like that, a lot of luxury stuff. So I kept my lifestyle, but I paid it with my spending, with my savings, because no income was there. And then my savings went down, and the business didn't come back. So I gave up my house in 2022, and I already had this luxury motorhome. So I moved into my motorhome. I said, okay, let's do it for 1 year, build up a new business, and then settle down again. And you know, during this, and I was very scared, to be honest. You know, when you move from a 12 sleeping room house in a motorhome, that's quite a difference. You know, when you have this huge pool and I don't know. I had 55 hectares of land. This was very huge. So in this motorhome, so I really was panicking. What's going on in my life? You know, I was 57 at the time. And I said, my gosh, 57, everything is gone. But you know, and my relationship broke too, so at the same time. And I was scared to be alone, the first time in my life to be alone without a partner. business gone, house gone, relationship gone. I'm in the motorhome and I was so scared. But you know what? Day after day, I felt better, more comfortable. I said, no, I'm not going to distract myself. I stay with this fear. I look into it. Where does this fear coming from? And every day I felt more comfortable. And to be honest, it was the best decision of my life. And I'm still on the road because I love it. I just learned to love it.
Yes. What a great story about resilience and learning about what's important in life, and I'm curious to know, how did you decide? So you had a large home and as you said, a lot of luxury items. How did you decide what to keep and bring with you into the motorhome versus just letting go of?
Okay. Well, I still have a huge storage on Mallorca with all the furnitures and motorbikes and everything is still there. I still pay for it because I couldn't let it go. But to answer your question, what did I bring to my motorhome? Some of my clothes, not all of them, but some of my clothes. And the 50 most important books that I always read again and again. And of course, my coffee machine. I'm a coffee lover. I brought my dog and some of my sports gear.
Wow, that is fantastic. And do you find, like, I've had a couple of trips where I've gone to Europe and I've just taken a carry-on for, 2 or 3 weeks. And I think, oh my gosh, I've got to take all of these clothes. And then in the end, I only wear half of the clothes anyway. And do you find that that's been the case since you moved in your motorhome, that you brought more stuff than you actually need?
Yeah, of course, Kimberly. I know when you have a huge house, the more stuff you have because you have a lot of place to store. And the same is my motorhome. My motorhome is quite big for a European one. It's quite large, so there's a lot of storage. Actually, it's a motorhome for 6 people, so it has three double beds, so it's quite big. So it's for 6 people. So this means there's a lot of storage. I'm driving alone with my dog, so I brought a lot of clothes with me. And to be honest, I guess in the last 4 years, since I moved in the first April in 2022, so it's a little bit more than 4 years, I think I never touched 80% of my clothes because you wear it, you wash it again, you wear it again. So
Yes.
yeah, too much stuff, still too much stuff with me, to be honest.
That's that's amazing. And do you have any plans to settle into a more not be in the motorhome, but have a set house, or you think you'll stay on the road for a while?
Yeah, I always said when I have a partner, I will do so. And interesting stories. I met a partner in Sicily last winter. She loves to travel too. She lives in a caravan and a trailer with her 2 kids, traveling around. And yeah, we are looking for a real estate, just to buy a piece of land, just to buy it. But we still want to keep traveling, and maybe in 3, 4, or 5 years, we're going to settle down on a piece of land. But we want to buy a piece of land. I think it's going to be Italy because both of us, we love Italy. So there are plans to settle down, but not the next 2 or 3 years.
Wow. What a sign of contentment. So when I hear you talk about all of this, it just sounds like a very contented life. And I think that is a great lesson, you know.
I think it's also important to trust, to trust the
Yeah.
universe, trust. Man, I wouldn't say I'm a religious person, but I believe in a in a higher source, and I learned to trust. I learned to trust. I pray every day, and actually I did a show with Dr. Jacqueline Kerbick here. The shortest prayer is just saying thank you, and that's what I do. To live in abundance for me means that every morning I wake up, and every evening I go to bed. It's the same procedure. I'm just grateful what I have. I'm not thinking about what I miss and I don't have at the moment. So I'm just grateful for what I have. Man, I'm going to 62, so I'm still alive. I'm healthy. I'm fit. I have friends. I have this lifestyle. So I'm very grateful for all these things and all the small moments. And this keeps me in a very positive mindset, first of all. And secondly, it attracts more positive things to my life.
Mm,
I fully
yeah.
trust it. And I don't know if you ever heard about the rough nights. You know what the rough nights are?
No, I have not heard of that. No.
Again, the rough nights is a very old Indo-German tradition, 1,000 years ago, in the north of Europe. So it's the nights between the 24th of December, so Christmas, and the 6th of January.
Okay.
Okay, it's 12 nights. And what you do is meditating in these nights. You can also smoke with smoking sticks and stuff like that, clean everything. And what we also do is we write down 13 wishes. 13 wishes for the next year. You write them down for each one on a short piece of paper. You put it together, and then you put the 13 wishes in a jar. I do this mostly mid of December, more or less. So I'm thinking about what I want to accomplish or have or do or be or whatever in the next year. So I write it down, 13 small pieces. It sounds a little bit weird, I know. That's what we do. And put it in the jar. And the first night, meaning the night from the 24th to the 25th, the Christmas night, I put one out. I don't know what's on it. And I burn it outside and say, okay, universe, help me fulfill this wish. And I burn it and I meditate. And I don't know what's on it.
Yes.
What I was writing down, because I don't see it. So I burn it. I do this for 12 nights. So you give away 12 wishes and trusting the universe or trusting God, whatever you want to call it, yeah?
Yes.
He or she or whatever it is supporting you. And then there's one wish left. And then you open this and you have to take care about yourself to fulfill this wish. The interesting thing is, and I knew it that it's going to happen. I don't know why. On this piece of paper, I still have it over there. On this piece of paper, it says, I want a beautiful, loving lady on my side. So this came up. I said, okay, this I have to take care. And I said, yeah, I'm here in Italy, South, well, I'm 62, but old people around me. I don't know. So I said, okay, when I go back to Austria, I have to be more in cities and dating people and stuff, like go around. And yeah, 2 months later on the camping site came this wonderful lady, and yeah, it happened.
Wow. That is amazing. And I really love, like, when you talk about trust, like when you're taking the pieces of paper out to burn them each night, as you were saying it, I wanted to know what the wishes were that you were taking out and burning. Like, it takes trust for you to not peek and say, what is this one that I'm burning? But just to take it out blindly and trust it up to the universe. I think that's amazing. And then to have that one come true is like, yeah, I think I'm going to try that this year. So it's December 24th to the 12 nights after that, or 13 nights.
Cool. Yeah. It's the 12 nights, and I started 2 years ago. Well, I always knew about this tradition, but I didn't believe in it, to be honest. I didn't believe in it.
Yes.
And I tried it last year, and I said I'd do it this year again. And yeah, it's really, and the learning is, whenever you're down, whenever you lose something, material stuff, your career, your business, your money, whatever it is, your lifestyle,
Yes.
just trust and rebuild it.
Yes.
Because I strongly believe that you always can lose your lifestyle. You always can use your career, your business, as long as you take care about your health, your relationships, and your personal development. I call this the Sunday crystal, the 3 crystal balls. When you drop them, they break. And the others are the rubber balls, like lifestyle, career, and business. When a rubber ball, when you drop it, it bounces back, meaning you can always rebuild your business, your lifestyle, your career. But it's difficult when you destroy your health or your relationships.
Yes, that is such a good analogy. You're totally right. And I'm curious to know, so I mean, you have worked with some of the major corporations in the world. I mean, you had a very high-powered business career and still do. And have you always had this perspective, or is this something that has changed over time?
It changed over time. When I was young, I was just very, to be honest, career, money focused. Go. I was living in the outside. Being in business, being on stages. I was a highly paid coach and trainer. I was speaking to sometimes in front of 15,000 people in conventional. So this goes to your head, because I come from a lower middle class family. I built up everything by myself. I paid my university by myself. I didn't accept my dad's money. So I was very proud about my achievements, and then I really dropped totally into the material world. We in Europe we show. I know the US. In the US it's different. I remember when I was studying in the US, I was in Athens, Ohio, Ohio University, and when I
Yes.
met American guys, they always introduce themselves and they talk very openly how much money they earn. In Europe, we don't talk about what we earn, but we show by, I don't know, expensive cars, luxury
Mm.
jewelry. So we are more showing than talking. And I
Yes.
felt the same trap in this material stuff. And I was so proud about, uh, yeah, obtaining all this stuff and achieving the stuff. And I thought, if I show how successful I am, I get acknowledged, accepted, and loved. This was the
Yes.
trick. But afterwards, I found out no, that's not a good way. And so yeah, so I moved
Yeah.
from outside world to inside.
Interesting. And now when you work with companies, how does that manifest itself? Like, do you think people experience you differently and your teaching and your coaching from a business perspective? Do they feel that difference that you're not just, go for the bottom dollar, only talk about margins and all of those other things?
Yeah, I mean, of course, when somebody's running a business, it's all about the KPIs, the key performance indicators,
Yes.
yes. But what I bring more into it is my personal experience. I said, okay, of course, you need revenue, you need profit. That's no doubt. But I think it's more also very important that you have clarity.
Mm,
Uh, what is your truth? What you really want to achieve in your life? Yeah. What is your purpose? And I think people should be, especially in businesses, be more purpose driven, less money driven, because money is coming afterwards. But when you really are
mm.
driven by your purpose, you serve people, and meaning serving people is solving their problems, then the money is coming automatically.
Yes. Yes, that's so true. Now, you've written multiple books, and I'm curious to know, were you already writing books before this change happened with COVID? Had you written before, or have you books come since you've made this transition during COVID and after?
Uh, it came after. The writing came
Mm,
after. It was always a dream of myself of writing, but I always thought I'm not sophisticated enough.
yes.
So uh, I'm not good enough because all my delegates always ask me, Roland, do you have a business book? Did you write a book? And I always said, no, there are so many books on the market. They're really good. I recommend them. But I always have been asked if my own books, but I wouldn't say too shy, but I didn't believe in myself that I'm good enough. That was an interesting story. I was a very successful trainer worldwide, but I thought I'm not good enough in writing a book. But finally, I overcame this negative belief system, and now I enjoy writing and publishing.
Yes. Do ideas keep coming to you? Like, even what you would have just been saying, I'm like, man, that would be a great book. And so, are you always thinking of the next book to write?
Yes, yes. The
Yes.
interesting thing about my first book was a business book that came out. It's called The Innovation Edge.
Mhm.
And this is content, and I trained thousands of people worldwide. So it's really working. It's a practical book, a business book.
Yes.
And I was talking to one of our colleagues, Redo Lovin, who
Mhm.
also runs several shows here, the Talking Heads and the corner bookstore. And I had a conversation with him because I knew that he supported Dr. Jacqueline with all her books. I guess she was publishing 27 books or something in 4 years.
Yes. Yes.
Absolutely
Been very prolific.
incredible. Yeah, so I had a
Yes.
conversation with him. She introduced me to him, and I told him, yeah, I'm too shy to write, and when I'm right, I will start again because I want to do perfect. And I said, Roland, you can talk. Why don't you record what you want to tell your audience, and then subscribe it, and then transcribe it? So I started like that. So at the beginning, I was recording my thoughts. I was talking, because when I talk, what I mean is, I don't think too much about grammar. I want to talk about what's in my head, and I don't think about is the sentence good or not, or the grammar. When I'm writing, when I see what I'm writing, say, no, this is not correct. I always change it, and then I lose the, I lose where the direction I want to go or I want to tell. So I started with recording in the beginning. Now, and I think about half of the book, I changed to writing, something like that. But it really was helpful for me starting with recording and just using my voice in the beginning.
Well, and as you're saying that, I'm thinking about persistence, right? Like it's, the concept of just taking the one step. And like if you're not comfortable writing, just take the step and get it recorded. And I think that was great advice. That was super good advice.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
but when the why is strong enough, then the how and what is not an issue.
Yes. Yes. And then is this also changing like your coaching and your work with companies? Are you creating more talks or different trainings based on what you've been learning here?
Absolutely. So what I bring in, as I said in the beginning, is teaching people discipline without direction and clarity is not working anymore. So you're going
Mm,
nowhere. So you have to know the
mm,
direction, because most people, they know, they can tell you what they don't want, but it's difficult for them to tell you what they really want. So, and
yes.
this is a long process for a lot of people. They know exactly what they don't want, but they don't know what they really want. And that's what I do with in one to. I do less trainings at the moment, do more one-to-one coachings, and
Mhm.
really finding out what drives them, what really want. And it's hard for them. It's really hard for them to find out what they want, because you never, as a kid, you never ask what you really want in life. Yeah, in school or in kindergarten, you never have been asked. So we're all trained to perform. Yeah, nobody asks you what's really your purpose, what drives you. Yeah, so we have to relearn this, or unlearn what you learned in school, whatever you want to call it, from which direction. And that's my main thing, is finding their purpose, their real purpose, their real purpose. So I said, okay, give everything away. What is you? Yeah. When so I, because this was one of my processes, when everything is gone, my house, all my cars, everything is gone, all my achievements, my performance, what is left? Who I am, who I
Mhm.
am, and what do I want when I leave this earth, this planet? What should last?
Yeah.
And that's what I train people, and it's a game changer for them, like it was for me.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree with that. And I'm also, I'm thinking as I'm hearing your story, and you talked about that last wish about, having a wonderful, loving partner. And I also read often that before we can actually be with someone else, we have to be able to be alone. And you said that when you first moved into your luxury motorhome, this was your first time in your life that you had been alone. And so, do you feel that period of time, that those 4 years really helped you be primed and be ready now for this relationship?
100%, Kimberly. That's it's another business I started, is I'm coaching couples. Um,
Mhm.
because I found out that, because I was always from one relationship to another, I always had long-term relationships. So 6 years, 15 years, 15 years, 6 years. Quite interesting. 6 years, 15, 15, 6 years. So
Yeah.
I always had long-term relationships. Uh, but there was never a break in between where I could really look at myself, what I really want, because I always was a very serving guy. Or if you want to formulate it negatively, I was Mr. Nice Guy. I always want to be nice
Mm.
to the ladies, but it's not always good. So this 4 years, of course, I met some ladies or short-term stuff, but this 4 years was so important for me, and I highly recommend this to everyone. As a single person, use this time to be clear what you really want in life, and work on your and do your shadow work on your dark sides. And if you're already in a relationship, you don't have to separate, but really take your time, maybe a day or a week or maybe 2 weeks, whatever we can do, and just spend it by yourself without distracting it, not playing golf like I did or something like that. Just
Yes.
being by yourself, maybe booking into a retreat, and just be by yourself and be clear what you really want. And it may sound a little bit harsh, Kimberly, but and I was the same person. Okay, I was the same person. I met so many people in my life who are small little boys and girls in an adult body.
Yes. Yeah, I agree. I totally agree with that. And I used to travel a lot for work when I was working at the university. I was traveling 60,000 miles a year going to different clinical trial sites that we were working with. And, I was traveling by myself and I would often eat alone in hotels. And I can't tell you, or restaurants, and I can't tell you how often I had people say to me, how can you do that? I can't stand going to a restaurant. I'm embarrassed to go by myself and enjoy my meal. Like I can't do it. I'd rather eat in my hotel room. And I always thought that's so interesting. Like I love having a meal by myself. I'll take a book, I'll think, I'll just whatever, it doesn't bother me one bit to be alone in a restaurant. But so many people are uncomfortable just with that, much less having that time alone in a longer sense. If a 2-hour meal is too stressful, what does that mean for the rest of their life? So,
Absolutely, absolutely. I was really much more crazy when I moved to a motorhome the first time in my life. I really was by myself. I don't have a problem to eat alone in a restaurant. I don't have any issues with that. But what I did is I didn't go to restaurants because I thought I'm not worth to have a dinner in a restaurant. I cook for myself. I'm not worth spending money for myself in a restaurant. I'm not worth booking a tour guide to see a city. I would have done it together with a girl, with a lady, but
yeah.
I said because maybe she loves it too, so I go with her to a restaurant or booking a tour guide or something. But alone, I'm not worth it. You know what? I didn't spend money for myself, so I had to learn to enjoy myself. And I said, okay, no, Roland, take the money, book a tour guide. You're alone. Enjoy it. You're worth it doing it by yourself. You don't always have to please somebody else. And it was a really learning journey for myself.
Wow. That's, I'm actually getting a little teary hearing you say that, because then it does come back to, you had all of these external things that looked fabulous. Like you said, a large house in Mallorca, cars, clothes, all of the things. But if you yourself didn't feel that you were valuable, what a gift to have that time to learn about that you are worth it.
Yeah. And I found out that all these cars and this house, I always did it for my wives. It was not for me. I was always doing okay, offering for my kids the best education, the best sports gear, the best holidays and stuff like that. It was never about me. That's what my learning. What do I want? What really do I want?
Wow, what a gift. And then you're bringing the fullness of yourself in any setting, whether it's a relationship or your work or your training of other people. Now you have that fullness of yourself. And
100%. Man, this relationship is quite new. It's 2 months, but it's totally different than all the other ones, because two persons came together who are not needy. We are not depending on each other. So we both learn to be happy by ourselves, and now we enjoy to be together. But we don't. But my happiness is not depending on her, and her happiness is not depending on mine, because we learned to be by ourselves and enjoy lives. And now we said, okay, when we are together, it's even better. But when we're not together, now we are 6 weeks separated, because she has a crazy job, one of the best jobs in the world. But anyway, so we don't see each other for 6 weeks. But we are still very happy. So we are not, these 17-year-old teens with all these hormones going crazy. No, it's a mature relationship.
Yes, what a relief. And again, that brings me back to the contentment that I'm sensing from your life, of just a contentment and happiness. And, and with Zoom, and now we have all of these tools that we didn't used to have to keep in contact with people. We can FaceTime, and so we can be apart, but still very, very connected.
Yeah.
I would love to hear your thoughts. So you said a little while ago that you found that in your life before COVID, that you were always the nice guy. You were being nice. And I've really been reading a lot about the difference between being nice and being good. And, nice can be passive aggressive. Nice can be really not being nice, right? If you don't want to upset somebody, and you don't want to say something that you think is going to hurt their feelings, you want to be nice, but actually you're maybe doing them a disservice because you're not telling them the truth. And, good is speaking the truth no matter what. And I would just love to hear your thoughts about that.
100%, Kimberly. I was a Mr. I had this Mr. Nice Guy syndrome. Well, the reason for that is I had a very bad childhood. Actually, in one of Dr. Jekyll's book, I was talking very open about the sexual abuse that happened over many years, from my age 5 to 13. So I always thought that I have to please people to get acknowledged and loved. and because I didn't get it from my parents. So I was always seeking in the outer world, and that's why I was very successful in business, because I thought when I'm performing, then I'm seen and I'm acknowledged. And the same in my relationship. I always said, okay, I have to do everything to be loved, and not to embarrass my partner or put him away. And the interesting thing is, I remember in one relationship, it was a huge learning. When she was pissed off with me, she was very emotional. And I learned from my parents that they don't speak with me for weeks and treat me badly. But this person, this lady, and I still love her, because even if we're not again, together again, because she taught me that I'm pissed off with you because I said something or misbehaved or something. But afterwards, when the emotions down, it's all good again. And I never had this experience that when somebody is really pissed off with me, that afterwards it's okay again. And it was I never. So that's why I always please people. I never want somebody to be angry or shouting at me or leaving me alone or stuff like that. And to be honest, this is not good in a relationship. It's not good in a relationship, because what happens is that you don't live your own life. You do everything for the other person, and
Yes.
I think at the end it's not attractive anymore, and people lose the respect.
Yes. Yes. I think that's true. I was married for many years, and one of the things I can look back and say is we never had a fight. And I think that's a bad thing. That's being two people being really nice and not addressing
Yeah,
whatever the thing was that was going on. And in the end, just as you said, it doesn't do you any favors to not address things as they come up.
yeah. I
Yeah.
really
Well,
had to learn to set boundaries. Yeah, this was hard for me to set boundaries, but I
yes.
learned that a no is a yes to myself.
Hmm. Oh, that's a great that's like a t-shirt phrase. That's a really great that's like one of those memorable phrases. I like that.
Yeah, yeah. This was one of the learning. When I say no, it's a yes to myself.
Yes. Ah, that almost sounds like a book title. I feel like you should write a book about that. Maybe you have. And that's a great book
In my
title.
mind. It's in my mind, yes.
Yes. Well, and also I'm very sorry that you had those experiences as a child. I mean, that abuse is terrible. So I'm sorry that you had to go through that.
Thank you. Yeah, the interesting thing is I found it out that when I was 54, 7 years ago. So it was so hidden, and
Yes.
well, actually, it made me the person I am, because when you're 5 years old and this happened to you, and you tell your parents they don't believe you what happened to you, you cannot move out. You're self-sustainable. You cannot move out and say okay, bye bye. So you have to stay there, and staying with somebody who doesn't believe you what happened to you over many years, because this sexual abuse happened, yeah, from 5 to 8 to 13, so 8 years. And what I did is I had so I learned not to feel my emotions and not to show my emotions. So this made me
Mm.
very strong and very focused in the business. So it has a positive aspect. Yeah. Uh, but on the other hand, when you suppress your negative emotions, you also lose your positive emotions. So I was, when I was successful in business, making money, I was partying and had a lot of fun, but I was not joyful. That's the difference. I wasn't joyful.
Yes.
And so that's a learn. But I guess it actually in the pandemic in 2020, I joined an online course. A friend of mine in the US offered it, and there was one part of it was an NLP course, and it was my third NLP course. I started 30 years with Tony Robbins, then I did the whole training again with the largest NLP institute in Europe, and then my friend Jackson, unfortunately, he passed away last year, and I met him in the Bahamas, and he called me and I said, "Hey, it's a pandemic. I'm offering an NLP course online. Do you want to join?" I said, "Yeah, why not? Because after all these years, you see different aspects. You can learn something new." And part of this training program was timeline therapy by Dad James. And I was doing this training together with my girlfriend at the time, and she was sexually abused too by her dad, and I could not handle it, and I didn't know why. And then I did some counseling for a billionaire who was a heavy alcoholic, and I saved his life. And because I found out why he was drinking, he was also sexually abused. And I said, what does this have to do with me? And then in this course, we teach a practical journey, traveling back in your timeline. And then all these things came up suddenly. And I saw all this, what happened to me. And it was because I put it away 50 years, it was, and it was just a release and to see, okay, what happened to me, why I'm the person I am, why I'm behaving like this, why stuff like that. So it was a huge learning for me, but I'm not angry about this persons who did it to me, not at all. Did I forgive them? I just think about it. It was never a problem for me in a thing of taking drugs or alcohol, because I didn't remember. Unconsciously it was there, but consciously I didn't remember. So it had positive effects on my business, on my career, but it had negative effects on my relationships because I didn't trust any woman.
Yes,
but now
I can understand that. Sure. That was one of the things I was thinking as you were talking, as trust must have been a very big challenge for you. If you couldn't trust the adults around you to keep you safe as a young person, that.
When you're 4 or 5 years old and this happens to you, what this couple has done to me, my mom always brought me there, but she didn't know it in the beginning. She found it out later. But when you come home and you try to tell what's happening, and they don't, and your mom, with 4 or 5 years, you're depending on the love of your mom, and she doesn't believe you. Then you use 100% your trust in your parents, and for me, in women generally. Yeah.
Yes, I can totally understand that. Well, I know that we're just about out of time. I have 2 more questions for you. The first is, with all of the lessons that you've learned and what you are continuing to learn, what is your next book going to be about?
Next book. Actually, it's almost finished, but it's too many pages. I guess it's almost 600 pages. I have to shorten it. It's called Paradise, but it's with that double A. So it's in German. So I don't know how we bring it in English, but Paradise, it's a play, Paradise, the paradise. But when you write it with double A, a pair is a couple. So it means paradise for a couple. So I've been writing a book about bringing back intimity in long-term relationships, because couples are long together and then they lose their intimity. And actually, I had this conversation with my girlfriend. As I said, how can you lose love? Love is not an emotion. Love is your value. You cannot lose it. Where is it gone? You dropped it. You cannot lose it. Love is a decision. Intimacy is a decision. Yeah. And I met so many couples that opened their heart to me, and they said, yeah, we don't have intimacy anymore, and she's waiting that he is coming, and he's waiting. So when you wait, nothing is happening. So it's a decision. You cannot lose it. So I've been writing a book about bringing intimacy back in relationships, because I think this is so more important.
I totally agree. And I imagine that you'll touch on some of the things that we've talked about, where it's like, if you haven't addressed emotions, that can dull your intimacy or your wish for intimacy. It's, you might still love the person, but you might still be a little bit angry at them about something, and then you don't feel like, being intimate. So yeah. Oh my gosh. Well, my last question is, how can people connect with you if they'd like to reach out to you and learn more about your books or watch your shows or just email you?
Well, the best way is to go on my website. You can read it. Here's my name, ROLANDFRIEDL.com. It's available in German and in English, the website. And there's also a contact form, but you can also use my email directly. It's office@mynameRolandFriedl.com. That's the best way to contact me. Be honest, I don't read my emails every day, but mostly every second day. Because I don't have any email on my smartphone. So I don't want this. So I just have it on my computer. So, but I'm always answering, and I love to connect with people. And I always say you don't have to have a problem to connect with me. I just like, it's all about sharing and caring, in this crazy world. And I love to connect with people, and let's see where the journey is going.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much for being here today. This is just so inspiring, and I actually can't wait to read your next book and see what happens. So I really appreciate your openness about your journey and the things that you've been learning.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, thank you so much. And I'd also like to thank our audience. We're here every other Tuesday with the Persistence Payoff Show at 12 p.m. Pacific time. And you can watch anytime on YouTube after that. If you would like to reach me, I would love to hear from you. You can find me on my website. It's ringthing.com. And my email is info@ringthing.com. And Instagram is @ring_thing_. And just please, I'm open to any suggestions, comments, or thoughts. So thank you so much to our guest today, Roland FRIEDL. I really appreciate him being here, and I look forward to seeing you all again in 2 weeks. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
In a quiet seaside town in Greece, where sunlight warms the stone paths and the sea whispers nearby, a new adventure begins. Lady Ella and her brother Lord Jack have arrived with an important mission: to teach kindness, patience, and the power of listening. In a hidden alley, a group of forgotten cats feel unseen and unheard, lost in silence and growing misunderstandings, until someone finally takes the time to truly listen. Because when we listen from the heart, loneliness softens, kindness grows, and new friendships begin. This is Book 10 of The Amazing Adventures of Lady Ella, the Listening Mentor book series. Find all Dr. Kerbeck's books on Amazon and in fine bookstores worldwide.
Thank you, viewers and listeners of USA Global TV and Radio, for joining us today. We're honoured to have your time and attention as part of our global community. At USA Global TV and Radio, we believe in the power of authentic conversations, meaningful connections, and creating a world of possibilities together. Want to be part of something bigger? Join our team of elevated listeners at usaglobaltv.com, a space where your voice matters and your ability to listen transforms relationships. Stay connected with us across all our platforms for thought-provoking discussions, expert insights, and empowering stories. Subscribe to our channels at youtube.com/c/USAGlobalTV. Follow us on social media and explore the endless opportunities we're creating for growth, learning, and inspiration. Together, we're not just broadcasting, we're building bridges and changing lives one conversation at a time. For inquiries, contact us at info@usaglobaltv.com. Music by Johnny Dies. Produced by Executive Producer and Director Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck. Voiceover by Mike Porter. Creative Direction by Paul Garcia. All rights reserved. Copyright 2025. Visit usaglobaltv.com to view our full terms and conditions.